Welcome, friends. Today, we are doing another perfume review. Scandalous. Scandalous. And it is scandalous, friends, because today we are reviewing an absolutely outrageous perfume. I can tell you. The perfume we are reviewing, as you can see, and from the title, is Coco Eau de Parfum by Chanel. But this is the original formulation from 1984. It was made by Jacques Polge. Some say it's his best creation. Not for me personally, but anyway. This review will follow my tried and trusty technique. I shall tell you the notes. I shall tell you which notes I get. And then I will discuss the fragrance until I am satisfied that I have described and imparted my feelings towards it. I have a pre-dipped blotter here, dipped but 5 minutes ago because, well, I'll tell you. I'll read the notes first. Composition. This is from the Chanel website. Now, bear in mind, this is the modern interpretation and the language they want to use. It's not from 1984. I'll get onto that in a minute. A luxuriant composition with contrasting notes. The fragrance opens with a citrus note of Sicilian mandarin and reveals a voluptuous heart. We all love a voluptuous heart. A voluptuous heart of jasmine absolute, heightened with touches of ylang-ylang from the Comoros and Tunisian orange blossom. A captivating harmony that leaves behind a vibrant trail of Indonesian patchouli, tonka note, and benzoin. I ain't reading the inspiration because asked about that I am not. I'm going to go on to Parfumo because they are not the original. It's not the original text. I would love to know what the original marketing was for Coco. Couldn't find it. And it would have been different. And I'll get on to why as we go on. I'm on Parfumo, and Parfumo gives us, in the top, frangipani, pimento, coriander, and mandarin orange. The heart is cinnamon, rose, orange blossom, ylang-ylang, angelica, iris, and jasmine. Base notes, benzoin, musk, frankincense, honey, patchouli, tonka, amber, and civet. The notes I get the most of. Mandarin orange, iris, rose, ylang-ylang, orange blossom, patchouli, a little bit of civet. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of notes that I get, but I'm going to tell you, don't worry. This fragrance was released in 1984. Unless you have been in some form of fucking coma, induced or not, it's not 1984 anymore, you know? And the modern version doesn't smell like this. I have smelled the modern version a few times, and it ain't. This is a different beast, and it is a beast. This fragrance was designed and released at a time when people socialized in person. Can you believe it? Awful. And they were in these big halls, or they were in small rooms, and they were allowed to smoke indoors. Smoking ban in Britain anyway has been in place for 20 years. I personally think it's a good thing. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but I don't smoke and I don't want to die. So I think it's a good thing. This perfume and perfumes of yore in that time were so big and vintage and massive and had these huge notes because they had to compete with all these other potent smells which weren't always pleasant. If you wanted to be smelled, if you wanted to be noticed, if you wanted the luxuriousness that brands like Chanel would offer, you had to get these verbose, rich, deep, dank, thick scents, and they would throw fucking everything at it. And the skill of the perfumers of yore, and Jacques Polge was one of the very finest ever, was to make a coherent, luxurious fragrance befitting of the price at the time and of the brand. Lagerfeld had just come back to resurrect the brand. 1985, that the 80s period, we all know, we've seen it. It was lots of money, loads of money. If you're in Britain, you know that. There was people throwing money about. Everybody wanted everybody else to know that they had stuff. Everybody was showing off. They wanted to be seen. They wanted to be heard. They wanted to be smelled. And that's true of the ladies as well. And this is a feminine fragrance. It's a classic feminine fragrance as well. Fragrance starts off with something very rich, thick, syrupy, and it's the mandarin orange. I love mandarin in fragrance because it gives this almost amber color, like the color of that juice. It gives this richness, this thickness, a slight syrupiness. It gives an opulence to a fragrance. It makes it feel exotic. It's dense, it's rich, it smells expensive. I have a blotter here and I'm smelling it. The reason I'm not opening that motherfucker and smelling it from the bottle is because that will blind you. And I don't mean nose blindness. That shit you will lose your sight. Don't smell it because the opening's massive and you get a lot of it all at once. So this is pre-dipped. I have smelled it loads of times. I smelled it on skin. I know what happens. So you're introduced by this mandarin orange. That kind of... It doesn't stick around like mandarin does in a lot of more modern fragrances. It gives way, but it's there, but it's never the star of the show. It's very complex. I'm not going to be able to do this as much justice as I would like to. There's then this kind of sweetness that isn't from the mandarin, and it could be from the frangipani. It's got this kind of sweetness, a little bit of herbaceousness, something a tiniest bit spicy. And that's like the cinnamon. It's got this kind of cinnamon, slightly sweet, rich opening, which then leads into this fucking immense heart of the Chanel aesthetic, this quintessential 80s Chanel aesthetic. This is the perfume that the ladies wore in the 80s when they were established. They were somebody and they wanted people to know that. And part of that was smelling like this. It smells rich. It's the ylang ylang, orange blossom, rose, iris, jasmine. This heart, which is also in... Well, parts of it are in Antaeus, which Jacques Polge also made about 3 years earlier for the men. It's very rich. It's recognizable. You know it when you smell it. It's a sign. It's a symbol. You might as well have the Chanel logo. I don't know if the double C is on here, actually. It's not. It would have been if it were. Oh, yes, it is. Sorry. Look, can you see? There on the neck. I was going to call it the throat there. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. You might as well have had that just tattooed on your body. You know what I mean? Because people would know that you were wearing Coco. You couldn't not be smelled, even amongst the smoke on a night out, which was a lot more than what people go on nights out now because they could fucking afford it. That heart moves, but remains and stands out and has motion. It oscillates and I don't want to say it spins because that implies some sort of perceptible like rotation. It's not. Things come and go from this heart like ghosts. Like imagine you've got three people smoking a cigarette, right? They're not smoking the same cigarette. Don't be like that. You're getting constant fumes when they're blowing the smoke out, but they're each one is different. But it's still cigarette smoke. It's still smoke. This perfume's like that. you are getting, at different times, ylang ylang. You're getting rose, you're getting orange blossom, you're getting jasmine. And they come and go, and they are ethereal, and they are, I don't want to say wispy because they're dense and rich, and they're hard. But they're also perfectly coherent. They're also perfectly proportioned in relation to each other. They sing in harmony, and yet you can pick out each of their voices. This then continues in the same vein as the Sicilian Mandarin, or the, not Sicilian Mandarin, the Mandarin. I don't know if it's Sicilian, could be. Which moves with the heart into the base, and the base becomes ever more apparent as you go through the fragrance. It becomes very powdery all of a sudden, and I actually think that's from the benzoin. I think that's from the benzoin in the fragrance. I get a lot of powder, creamy powderiness, like very fine sort of powder, like talc. Like it appears as one thing, and then you realize it's made up of these incredibly tiny parts. It's like benzoin. That's kind of what I get from that. There's honey. And then it becomes an ambery fragrance, a slightly floral, amber patchouli fragrance, with a hint of civet to stop it from becoming too sweet. The civet offsets everything else that goes on, just to stop it from becoming so heady that it makes you want to be sick. It's very, very clever. It's very, very opulent. It's one of the best fragrances ever made. I think it's Chanel's answer to opium. Is it a better fragrance than opium? Yeah, probably. Probably it is. Other people can judge it. You can make up your own mind. There's one final point I want to make about this fragrance, and it's very strange. I believe this fragrance, Coco, was actually the inspiration behind this, my favourite fragrance, Balenciaga Parfum. Balenciaga Parfum shares this cinnamon, patchouli, honey, dense, rich dance of a fragrance, but this is much more masculine with the introduction of stuff like oak moss, and it stays on that kind of manly side. But I do think Gerard Anthony drew inspiration from Coco, which is one of the highest compliments I can pay it. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon.